Like it or not, Pat, reactions overall to the end of the college basketball season?
I mean, look, I was not looking forward to the tournament this year like I normally did. I didn't really pay much attention to college basketball because of all the stops and starts. I was completely wrong. This tournament was amazing. And the fact that it ended the way that it did was perfection, right? Like that historical undefeated team goes on another year. Just when Gonzaga finally feels like they're a national powerhouse and they have something to puff their chest out about, here comes Baylor for the first time since 1948 winning a national championship. It was great. The only thing, if I could have written a better ending to the college basketball season, make that championship game a little closer, because it was a little bit anticlimactic after everything we had seen. But no, man, it was great. I loved every second of it.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. I was telling Bill off air about people who were upset about the last second shot Gonzaga won against the UCLA, and how people were upset that they bet money on UCLA only to find out that they lost at the end. I thought it was great. I thought it was all the way in. And there's nothing better than a perfect season than a team that stops a perfect season in the championship game. So Baylor, they're like my New York Football Giants. I love it.
So I guess that answers my question. I was going to do Tariq, like it or not, Baylor winning.
Oh, I love Baylor winning. And it's to Pat's point, it's kind of this whole story of what you think you're going to see, what you expect to see. Like Gonzaga, we saw the program, if you're old enough, you saw that program develop over years. You thought this was their time. And it was not. Baylor came in with consistent play. They played great in the semifinal game. They played great in the championship game. It was anticlimactic. I stayed up thinking to myself, Gonzaga's going to make a comeback. They cut that lead down at halftime. I'm like, okay, let's see if they can get the momentum to start the second half. They didn't. That was the end of the game.
So, Pat, with Baylor winning, you're going to tell me to let it go. I'm pretty sure that's your answer here. I hate Baylor more than any college in the country with their past. The murders within the basketball program, the things that went on with the football program, Kenneth Starr being that university's president. I hated them winning this thing just because of that stuff.
I mean, look, the way that the news cycle moves, I'll be honest with you, Bill, up until like 3 days ago, I completely forgot that it ever happened to Baylor because, you get all wrapped up in the tournament. And it is interesting to that point, right? Like, college sports programs have been punished way worse for way less. Like if you use what happened at Southern Methodist University in the early 80s, with just paying players, right? Compared to what Baylor went through, you're absolutely right. Like we shouldn't be talking about Baylor basketball if you want to use those two things side by side at all. However, I mean, I guess you can make the argument that head coach that's there now wasn't there. The kids that are there now are just looking to play. They weren't there. So, I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to punish the 15 guys on the roster and the coaches that had nothing to do with it for sins that were 20 years ago?
No, yeah, 10 actually. I was surprised that it was so recent.
It was 10.
Yeah. I thought about the same way Duffy does too, but I mean, here we are. What are we? 3 years after the whole Astros scandal, and people still don't let it go. So, I mean, I guess it depends on where you come from. I didn't even think about Baylor and their history. I just thought about those kids and the way they played. I don't know if an entire program needs to be marred by one moment and one lapse in judgment, in a moment's history of an organization or a university. So, I mean, I'm not tied to holding people forever and condemning them. Sometimes you need to let the program progress and grow.